Hi, this is Fiddler Crab. I'm going to give you an overview of the trade skills and crafting in Fallen Earth, the MMO that came out recently. This is my main character, Fiddler Crab, and I'm going to show you a bit about the graphics and what the trade skilling is like. First off, you'll see or hear in other reviews that the people sometimes don't like the graphics, and I'll admit some of the faces that you can choose are pretty ugly, but I like Fiddler Crab's face pretty well. He's got the eye tattoos going on and some piercings and a 5 o'clock shadow, and you'll also hear people complain that everybody has the same body style. For instance, all male characters have basically this body style. You can't make them fat or big-shouldered or super muscled. The designers wanted to make the armor layerable, so you can see he's got a shirt and a vest and various pads on his arms, and to make the armor look good and to be able to layer it and to be able to wear your weapons like this on it, they wanted to keep the body styles all very similar, and I think it's worth it because I think the gear looks pretty good. So yeah, these are the graphics. This is my character, Fiddler Crab, as I said. He's mostly a crafter, and he also uses melee weapons. He's made basically all of the gear that he's wearing, except for a couple of quest items. You can see there are a lot of gear slots in this game. You can have forearms and upper arms and gloves and chest and all sorts of stuff. He's got pads on his upper thighs, a lot of different pieces, including things like mouth and ears and eyes. I'm going to throw his gas mask on, and you can see it's graying out a few other slots. That's because the gas mask actually takes up the eyes, ears, and mouth slots. Here you can see him with his gas mask on. It looks pretty cool. Put his helmet on here too. So this is his gear that he wears when he's out adventuring. And yeah, I like it. I like the graphics quite a bit in this game. Are they the most high-tech graphics you're ever going to see? No, but they fit the system well. See, we got a lot of weapons here. He's got his crossbow. He's a melee guy, so his rifle skill isn't very high, and he doesn't actually have enough skill yet to use a real rifle, and crossbows are what you use at low rifle skill. Let's take a look at the recipes I've got. We can start out with weaponry, which is mostly melee weapons. Over here's the active recipe tab. You can see I've finished one thing, some medium gunpowder. And I can click complete, and that gunpowder is then transferred over into my pack. If I go to my trade skill tab, I now have some medium gunpowder over in my pack. And looking through weaponry skill, you've got tons of different weapons you can choose from. The way they usually work this is you'll have a low-level book like Axes 1, and within Axes you can then research Axes 2, and Axes 2 will have higher level axes, plus the ability to research Axes 3, and so on. You can also occasionally get recipes from quest rewards, like that Bone Claw Scourge is something I can make from a quest I did in Bone Claw. There's all sorts of interesting things here. They've got tools, so you can have, if you want to look a particular way when you're role-playing, you can have specific weapons, and a lot of these things like the sports gear will then lead on to blood sports weapons. Some of the higher level recipes require ability books and higher level trade components to research them. Some of the interesting things you can have are melee weapons that give you pluses. Like this shovel gives you +3 to geology, so you can mine better if you have your shovel equipped and in your hands, in addition to using it as a weapon. Now we're moving on to ballistics. You can see this is what I'm making now, some medium pistol ammunition. I'm not a gun user, but I'm using it just to get my ballistic skill up. Here we have a scoped Rimfire Rifle. It takes both a normal Rimfire Rifle and a scope to build. And you can make the normal Rimfire Rifle. This is something you see a lot, that you'll have an extra recipe to either dye something or to add a spot to it. The normal Rimfire Rifle requires a wood stock, so if I go up here to gun fittings, I can see that this is where I would make my wood stock. And again, you often in things like especially vehicles or more complicated recipes like guns and such, you'll actually make individual pieces of it and then do a final assembly of the gun or vehicle. Moving over to science. Science is a great skill. It's got a wide variety of stuff that's useful to almost all characters. You'll have things like acids and bombs that will allow you to make grenade type items. This is also where you can make weird things like these vitamin shots or adrenaline shots that act as sort of like potions, if you will, if you're coming from a fantasy setting. This is where you also make vehicles. So here's my gas motorcycle engine that I can make. And I can make a dune buggy. And those are actual mounts that you use in the game. And again, there's also research. You can see the times start getting pretty high on things. I'm about to make a biodiesel motorcycle for myself, and it's 1 day at 21 hours for the combine to finish, and it'll be faster if I spend time in the science workshop. You get a 25% reduction in your combined time if you're in an appropriate workshop, and that works even if you're offline. But you know, most of the things that you're making are more down in the 10 to 20 minutes to combine. And the nice thing about this crafting system is, again, you're doing it even while you're offline. You can go out, you can quest, you can go out and do things, and you don't have to worry about standing still or spending a lot of time in the workshop. It just makes things go faster if you're in the workshop. Moving on to armor craft. This is where you make all the armor craft gear, like the stuff I'm wearing. You can see there's tons of knowledge sets, and then within each one, like pants 1, there will be multiple recipes. The way the game sort of progresses is that the low-level stuff tends to be like clothes, like shorts and a t-shirt and some sneakers. But then as you go up in levels, the armor that you wear turns into more durable pants and jackets, and then it goes on to helmets and pads and vests, and eventually at high level you'll get actual, real cohesive armor sets that will cover multiple gear slots. So here you can see there's as you move up through pants, and then you go on to legs 1, and you can research improved legs and etc. And as you go up in that, things start looking less like clothes and more like armor. Cooking. In cooking, you get a lot of things that, for instance, food will regenerate your health, and drinks will regenerate your stamina, and then at higher level they will also give you buffs, so that's real nice. And so here's some examples of that. The only problem with cooking is that there's a lot of different components that you have to pick up and find, or you end up buying it, so it's sort of a space hog. And I'm going to cut this into 2 spots.